Welcome to the Nocturnal podcast. My name is Dan, and I've got Sandile, who's my co-pilot. I'm sure you're wondering why we're calling this the Nocturnal podcast. If you remember, in the previous episode, we did not have a name,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the name we came up with, uh, derived from the fact that this will be on the Woke Owl channel. So this is the Nocturnal podcast.
Yeah, it's actually the name he came up with because, how will I know such a word, man?
Says the guy that reads Reader's Digest.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, man. Today there's a lot we can talk about. I actually wanted us to focus more on unemployment, specifically youth unemployment in South Africa. If you check the previous quarter, we had about 42.1% unemployment rate in South Africa for the youth, which suggests that people who are meant to be working, 42% of those people are not working. And the government always says the way to curb unemployment is to have more small businesses. But
The very small businesses that they don't even support, the very small businesses that they don't even propel to be able to grow, the
exactly,
very small businesses that are not even easy to run. So the the worst advice to give people is to start a business.
yeah,
Like, what do you mean? And also, I guess also like the thing because they probably mean that have a side hustle, sell Avon,
yeah,
Bangwenya,
yeah, yeah.
but that does not.
It's not sustainable.
It's not because it's hand to mouth.
Yeah, petty
Mali
cash.
again, and you have to
Yeah,
spend that money. So
and
there's never a, and that's another problem with the country is that we're telling people to start a business, but never showing that okay, once you start the business, sure, how do we scale that business for it to actually grow and
yeah,
provide the necessary employment,
yeah,
right? So if we're saying that 5 people that are in the room, everyone must start a business, but now you're telling them basically about a side hustle type of business that can't be scaled because not all businesses are scalable. That's another thing. And that's another thing that the government doesn't tell you when they're telling you that you must start a business. So basically you start a business so that you can eat. And then
So to me, I get what you say, and to me, it's. You are deep into it. For me, fundamentally, not everybody can be a business person.
at all.
Firstly, so for you to think of that as a solution, it's not a solution, definitely.
Yeah. You're throwing people off.
Another point is government is telling us to start small businesses, but they are not even running their business efficiently as
Do you
well.
understand? And now there's very there's limited information, especially for the people that do need it, on how to run a functioning business. That's another thing because it's one thing to say run a business, but then you don't realize that if you don't use the 60% markup on your sale,
Yeah.
like not who people don't know those things, right? So
Yeah.
if you bought something for 1 rand, the idea really is to because generally because of desperation, all you're gonna want to add is about 50 cents or 30 cents just to say that you made the money back and some change.
Okay, let's pick it up from here because I heard you say something about running a successful business. So that's what the government is suggesting.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of negatives to it. We get that, but can we move to the positives to say if you are to run a small, successful business, how should you run it? What should you do to ensure that that specific small business you've started becomes a success? In this current economic crisis that we find ourselves in, we know the ground is not fertile in South Africa, but there are people running small businesses and they're successful. So, how do they do it? And I know you are someone who can tell me how it's supposed to be done.
So first defining what your business is, right? So if if you are going to sell a product,
Yeah.
We need to sell a product that you know for a fact that the consumer would buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, like there's certain decisions one has to make before even going anywhere further. Do you want to run? Do you want to be self-employed, where it's you and your money, or do you want to be an entrepreneur building a business?
Yeah.
Where now you're employing other people.
That will scale up to something
You
bigger.
know.
Yeah.
So if it's very rare that every small business is scalable, right? And Letabo, someone who has shown how to scale a cleaning a sneaker cleaning business was how he did it was so brilliant that the story was on point. He didn't mess up the money. He understood exactly that in order for this thing to work, he's going to need to get more people on board, right? And more people on board, meaning employees, to help him to do these things, right? And it had to be very relatable to the people he was providing the service for initially. Before now, 3-4 stores later, and he's what he is now, and is only growing still, right? So when one decides the type of business it is that they want to start, you then have to figure out, is it a scalable business, or are you just going to be self-employed where it's just you and it's money in, money out, right? And that can work too. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem starts when you have a business that that can't necessarily be scaled, but then you are so frustrated at the fact that it's not growing to where you want it to grow.
Yeah.
So
there's
those distinguishing factors that one has to always consider when it is that you want to start a business or have a side hustle, because sometimes it's okay to just have a side hustle. Have that, let it bring you some cash on the side, and or if you don't even have a main point that brings you any kind of income, then you do that. You do like a quota place, right? It's very hard to scale a quota business.
I've seen people who scale it very nicely, but
but it's not easy. That's the thing. Right. So when you look at businesses like Quota Joe, they had some solid capital behind. Right. And then Quota Kings, I've seen them trying to scale, and it has been very difficult because they're trying to sell the franchises to people. And my whole thing is, instead of trying to sell the franchise, get as much money, build another one. The same way Letabo did with the sneaker company. Like just this is your money, you open another one, you still own that. You open another one, you own that. Instead of trying to do the franchise model too quickly. That's another problem.
Yeah, of course. When it comes to franchising, you don't want to do that very early on. You need to know that you have a solid market 100%. And there's a demand for your product. 100%. So you can't just I get your point there. So if we're talking small businesses, obviously there's type of businesses that you can provide, and there's type of services, and how you scale up or down differs in terms of whatever you're doing, right? So the quota business, I've seen many people successfully do it, especially Kokasi, because I mean, for a basic quota now, you're looking at paying Boma $30, which is a lot of money if you think about it, because they're just buying bread, chips, and whatever. If you manage to run a solid social media campaign, it's very easy to penetrate the market. I mean, there's one in Joburg North called Kasiyam, which is doing very well.
Sure. So there was a time where is it Winnie Squatters, the ones in Tembisa, trending on Facebook, bro.
Trending on Facebook. Wow.
The thing is, when I went,
still lives there.
No, but this was years ago.
This
was some time ago, probably 4 years ago, not 5 years ago. So But I was with my friend Umanga, and then we went to Tembisa together. It was packed.
full.
Packed because it was a buzz on Facebook, right?
How far back was this?
Probably 4-5 years
2015?
ago.
Okay.
2016 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2016, 2017 at most.
Yeah.
But then when I haven't seen evolution since. It has like with the support it got, I haven't seen the growth thing where now.
I've never heard of it, for
Do you
example.
understand?
Yeah, and I mean Tembisa is not far from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's so much that they could have taken so much advantage of that when there was such buzz around it. And when the money was rolling in the way it was packed, man. And those quarters were expensive, like $50 each.
Were they nice though?
They were good.
Okay.
They were good, right? And everyone was vouching for it, and hence it got the buzz on Facebook because everyone kept on vouching for it, and they never ever got to.
What's the name? Let's just search and see if it's still running.
Winnie Squatter. Is it Winnie Squatter? Yeah. But it was big, man. There was a lot. There was patties. It was
Winnie's Quarter.
There was too many.
Is this the one?
Is it in Tembisa?
It's in Tembisa.
Yeah.
Close to Ivory Park.
I don't know.
Never heard of it. But
The
yeah,
point is, like,
it's a quarter nonetheless.
You know, the point is there's just there was no growth in that, and that's another thing where, you know, you get to see if people are trying to generally scale or just run what they got going on and get some money, feed the family, and that is more than okay.
And another thing is because we are not privy to their marketing plan or strategy.
You see,
probably being Tembisa's hottest quarter place
was
the ceiling for them. Yeah, so,
you know,
yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
There's absolutely, it's just me. I believe in scaling.
You like
businesses.
things going to the top.
No, listen, it needs to, because then how else do we curb unemployment, or how do we lessen it? How else do we provide skills where not only are we providing employment, but we're making sure that we also plow back into the youth and give them the necessary skills for us to be able to keep on growing. And I mean, you educate someone, you've freed 2-3 more people from there on, because then they have a skill that can be utilized. And not just talking education, but someone who has an academia degree, right? But if someone has a skill, even with their hands, doing networking or whatever, that's a skill that could feed them and it can take them anywhere, especially in the world we're living in right now. So advising that people should start businesses, and look, yes, go right ahead, but also it is very difficult just to stay
running
afloat.
A business is not pop and place, man. It's the
Just
most
staying
difficult thing
afloat,
ever.
you know?
Because
And then
not
there's
even staying
Instagram
afloat,
situations. There's Instagram, hashtag entrepreneurship, people flying in private jets.
Yeah,
I tell you,
yeah.
real entrepreneurs don't even flash like that. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That is a fact. Because also one understands the difficulty of the money coming in. Why would you want to splurge it like that? Anyway, topic for another day.
It happens, man. But yeah,
Unless it's
I'm just,
entrepreneurs,
you know,
give us a call.
Don't include me. Give this guy a call.
Contract here and there, ain't nothing.
Yeah,
So
well, but call this guy. I'll work under him. You know what? So in this current economy, now we spoke about businesses, but there's side hustles that you can run and have a successful life. They give you some good money. You won't necessarily quit your day job for it, but there are side hustles. Like if you work as a developer, for example, there'll always be a need for somebody who needs a website or an application, and if you have those skills, you can run that side hustle.
100%.
Now, my thing is, if I develop those applications and I can make probably double what I earn in 1 month, where do I then decide to say, since I'm able to make this money on my own, maybe I should just consider quitting my day job?
If you have
Is that a good thing?
No.
Why not? I'm making more money, Mus.
Sure, but is it long-term sustainable? Because here's the thing. Right? If it's once-off payments and you don't lock them in on retainers, then...
But then again, even the retainers, because it's going to be maybe an SLA of support and services. So let's say let's just play with numbers. Let's say I earn 20K, right? And then I lock them down for a 6K per month SLA. It's long term, but what's 6K versus my 20K?
100%.
Yeah.
But that's one client,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then if you get 5-6 clients paying 6K, 10 clients paying 6K on a month-to-month for the next 3, 4, 5 years, you've built a rapport, word of mouth, your word spreads. Then, only then, do you then look at it
quit.
like, this is taking too much of my time because I could be penetrating the market much harder this side of the world.
So how long will it take you to make that decision?
When you see the consistency of the money.
Yeah, so how do you judge consistency? Is it 6 months, 12 months, 2 years?
Give it a year or two. Give it a year or two. To be sure. Because also the last thing you want is to find yourself in a situation
stranded,
where, and now you're out of the job market, and then you have to start from scratch. And also during that, right, there's something that a lot of people never pay attention to. Luck. Luck. So you could be lucky for the next 6 months and you're winning, right? But it does run out.
It does.
Now, if you are doing a side hustle situation that is just supposed to bring extra money, and you're looking at the money aspect of things. Understand now, by the time you leave the 9 to 5 and you completely get into the business side of things, now you're running this business to be sustainable now. It's a different ballgame altogether now. So now it's not just extra money coming in. You have to make this thing work and function properly now as a day-to-day. That's your job now. Right? So,
and you're no longer just a developer, you're a business owner.
Exactly. Right? So there's so many things to consider at that point. And then you there's no overlooking the fact that your time is spread across. Like your time this is the one thing, and this is all that brings in money. But also you need to learn on how to build this business, or at least keep it as sustainable for as long as possible. Because many people think that, they're good in business because they got lucky, and then the luck runs out and boom, shit fucks about. Because now, and then you're like, but hey, I was working hard. Okay, cool, do it again.
Since you've got the formula, just replicate. So here's my thing on freelancing and the way most people go about it. I feel like they're doing it wrong. And you look at movies in America where you'll find one person having 3 jobs. Obviously, they're probably they don't make enough money. So in order for them to just sustain their lifestyle, they need to have 3 different jobs. So you get somebody in South Africa who feels like, I can make more money on my own. I might as well just quit my job. But reality is that they can probably still juggle both of them. So why do you feel a need to leave a stable job just so you can go and run on a wild goose, which might not be successful?
So there are other people where they working to get to work and not to live. Then what's the point? Because if you hold a 3.5 and your transport fare for taxi costs you 3.2,
That's slavery, man.
You know what I
You're
mean?
not even
So-
working. You're a slave.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you might as well leave this thing and
Yeah.
go figure life out in the field.
Yeah.
Because what one?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. For me, it's because, I mean, I've seen and I know a lot of friends, some of them left their jobs thinking they'll make this entrepreneurship thing work. And as you said, luck plays a big role. Because you could be having, we've had some of these conversations, went into boardrooms, spoken to people, and things look like they were going to go well, and something just takes a different turn.
Exactly.
So
Last minute.
that thing happens, and it's sad to see somebody lose almost all the things that they worked hard for like the past 10 years because
Dude.
they decided to go solo. And you get what I'm saying?
And there's that being on your own in the field takes such a toll on your mental health.
Yeah.
Like that thing is strenuous, right? So there's a lot that one has to consider before taking the advice of going to go and start a business. I know a few folk who are doing very well and are still stressed the hell out because of this thing.
Yeah.
And yes, ambition plays a role in the stresses you have because you're trying to build this thing, you're trying to make it sustainable, you're trying to let it outlive you. Sure. But man, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. And if you're working against luck, like you can work hard.
It happens, man. It happens, but your day will come as well.
Sure, that's the thing. Like, and that's one of the things that I'm very happy about. That luck has not visited me in the way that it will. So I've managed to learn a lot about running something and scaling it.
Yeah.
Unlike, someone who got lucky so quickly in the first 6-8 months, started making $1 million already, and then life takes a turn as it does because luck runs out and they have no idea how to regain that.
Yeah. For me is to always remain in the game. So that if your luck comes after 3 years, you're still in the game.
You're still in the game,
so,
100%, yeah.
Yeah, so if you remain grounded and just try to push as much as you can, your luck is going to come and you'll experience your high. Hopefully you never go back to your low when it runs out.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Like once, especially when you've learned the ins and outs and you've built a formula of sorts, you can't go back. And I've seen in movies where there's this person has lost all their wealth because something fucked out, and I'm just like, my man, you
how
you were a billionaire and then the business crumbles and everything goes. At no point did you decide maybe, just maybe, I should buy into something else.
Yeah.
And I know someone like that in person where they were relying on one thing and then that thing fucked out, and boy oh boy was he stressed.
They stand off as well.
You see, and then there are things like those.
Yeah, but there you just see there was just some criminality happening.
Them white folk took them. Man.
Yeah.
They blew that.
Yeah.
They blew that heavy.
By jail,
like I don't even want to hear about VBS now. Yeah, Steinhoff, they blew that.
But they're still operating now. They're back.
You understand how sad that is.
I remember there was a point where the shares were going for like 3 rands per share. I don't know what's the current share rate now, but I'm sure it's bigger, probably.
Yeah, it's much bigger now. It's very blue chip stuff now.
Should have bought like 3K worth of that 3 rands.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But also, I mean, at the time, I think because when it's only kind of now the last probably 3-5 years where one takes the risk when things have fallen, or the idea that it will pick up.
Yeah.
Right? But also, what are the chances that it will pick up? So it's you have to go on a hunch. As much as it's a calculated risk, it's a hunch because like cool. You know, you were down and it was
before
painful at the
bed.
Yeah.
Flip. Connect this thingy.
It is connected, but
the hard drive. Hard drive external. Oh yeah, Ish, I wanted to take back my comment because the share price is back to 2 rands.
So you can buy it now.
Nah, it's fine. This thing is losing steam. What's wrong, Wana Ips?
I'm switching it on.
What was off?
The laptop.
Yeah, actually, you know, as we're speaking now, I just checked the share price for Steinhoff. I take my comment back. I'm glad I used that 3K having lunch, buying clothes or something, because honestly, it's horrible. I don't think it will ever come back.
It shouldn't.
Yeah, nah, it's fine. Actually, it's fine. It should actually be like what's this VBS?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It shouldn't.
yeah, no,
Remain as is.
yeah, it's fine.
There's a lady there that has a question.
Yes, I have a question for Sandile here.
All right.
So, in context of starting a business, right? Because that's what we're told to do if you don't have a job.
Yeah.
He said something about when you start a business, you have to start something that you are sure people are going to buy. But my question is there really something like that that is failure proof? Because even when you're at a 9 to 5, it's not guaranteed that you'll be employed for like a year, for example.
Yeah.
So now when you're starting something, how do you then make sure that you are starting something that will definitely not fail?
Thing is, you don't know it won't fail, but you do know that you will make sale, right? So it's one thing to example, if you want to sell lollipops, right? Understanding who it is you're competing with Stambo and who's that other one?
Hey, let's not give them airtime, man.
Yeah,
Those ones.
them.
Yeah.
That Yu-Gi-Oh one,
Yeah.
right? So if you need to, like, you're competing with those chaps,
Yeah.
and then you'd want to go into mass market trying to sell against those guys. It becomes difficult to compete in that world unless you have a model where you're like, okay, you'll go sell these things at tuck shops and you know you're supplying those people, and like school tuck shops and Gasi tuck shop situations where you're supplying them directly. Then you can kind of win it, right?
Even then, there's a risk, but yeah.
Yeah,
Let me
but
just
like,
give
you know what I
the
mean. Like
limited
your model is not necessarily mass market, right? So it's nothing is ever fail proof.
Exactly.
Nothing is, but also don't start a business that's not going to take off. That's generally what the idea is. Like, what's the one thing that just can't do?
It's hard, man, but
And for like a consultancy business, right? It's easily scalable, but it's a
a niche
difficult,
market.
yeah, but it's a difficult business to be in because now you are competing with large consultancy firms, right? And now you come to a client, then you're telling them that I can charge you 50K less. Their first question is, why are you even charging 50K
Who
less?
the hell are you, actually? Who
understand?
did you
Like,
work with?
there's so many things to consider, and nothing is ever fail proof, but they just don't get into something that is either clustered or you don't have a model that you're gonna go with, and all you have figured is, I need to get a distribution and go with that. It ain't gonna happen like that or that quickly, if at all.
I hear you, but my thing is, if you told a mama by a rank to not go into something clustered because it's already clustered, I don't necessarily think that advice would cover everything, because you'd find in those veggie stalls, everyone is literally selling the same thing.
Yeah.
And it is already clustered, but that doesn't mean that your thing will not be bought.
Yes.
Which brings me
Remember,
to which brings me to a point that you made
Yeah,
again
yeah.
earlier on. Are we trying to curb unemployment, or are we trying to like now employ everybody? Because if I'm a graduate, I'm Ipeleng, I'm a graduate, I just graduated in a marketing degree, I'm not getting a job, but I have the ability to go and sell veggies. Is it now my responsibility to hire the next person, or I'm just trying to help myself with what I can?
But that's what I was saying, that if you can be self-employed, you see, that's self-employment. That's money in, money out for you. It's a different ball game to be an entrepreneur and build a business. It's not the same thing. So
Yeah.
you can sell your veggies and they'll buy your veggies and look, you will have some money to restock and buy some bread for home, right?
But that's where it ends.
It's scalable? And what makes it scalable? How do you scale it if you want to scale? But if not, then be okay with, and more often than not, people are okay with selling this very same thing next to each other because all they want to do is make ends meet. And that is more than okay.
But that is not a solution. I think that's what you say.
Yeah, because my whole thing is not everyone is trying to be an entrepreneur, or not everyone can be self-employed. It's a very difficult thing to do. Like, people want to go to school and be able to do what they are skilled in. Now you are telling that person that, okay, you're a developer. Now you start your own developing agency or your own IT company.
That time I don't even have communication skills. I don't have.
Do you understand?
Business skills.
Like, all I want to do is code, my man. That's it.
Easy.
It's tricky advice to give to people to just, we can't save you, you save yourself.
You know where I fault the government is, if they made the soil fertile enough for people, because they're saying create your own businesses, but there are no programs running for people who don't have business skills to be upskilled.
Exactly.
So with that being said, I don't think they have a right to tell us to start businesses, because they're not helping us in any way.
Like, Kena Kozola there and tell those peoples on show them how to run a
start
business.
workshops in every community, and we'll see.
Yeah,
Let's figure
it out.
We'll have some entrepreneurs who have something running, very successful. 100%. They know how to do their taxes.
You know,
but at the moment,
there's that.
Yay.
Do you understand?
SARS in itself is a problem.
Because now, and also the thing is, more often than not, the stall type of businesses, they cash based. So none of that money, like all that money does not even go to the bank. It's straight cash. They go and buy goods, whatever they need, and then the rest it's to eat at home.
Just on the point you made, right? The stall businesses, it's not official.
Do you understand?
So the government is still saying create more jobs, create your own businesses, but they're not even documenting those unofficial ones.
Do you understand?
So they just don't care, really.
Yeah, it's bullshit advice.
So we'll start our own businesses if we want to.
I guess.
Not for you guys.
I guess.
Not for you guys.
Okay, so now I do want a job, right?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be self-employed. I'm not trying to be an entrepreneur. What advice would you guys give to someone who, fresh out of varsity, needing a job? I think that's when we can maybe go into the unemployment and unemployable issue.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah.
Are you employable as a graduate?
So for me,
as a person first.
Okay.
For me, I'll say this, right? It depends on what you studied in tertiary, for example. Some qualifications are honestly useless, and it's difficult to find a job with that qualification.
If we're in the 90s and you have a general BCom, fucking A, you're great. Now,
I'll tell you something. From me as well, I studied computer science.
Exactly.
And with what I studied and what is done in the job, in the workplace, there's miles long, kilometers of differences. So in school, they just teaching you theory. You do projects and they teach you how to carry yourself, how to behave as a professional, and you get to understand all these fundamentals of what you're working with, right? But you get to a workplace, and if they just give you a laptop and say, this is your job, just see what you do with it, you will struggle. You know what I mean?
Because
So-
also, I think companies also are not in the business of teaching you what they assume you know.
Yeah, so yeah, it's not even their problem. The problem is the education system. So from the education system, and that's what speaks to being employable, right? The education system is messed up, and I can speak for IT because that's what I did. And I always get young kids asking me, well, I'm a young kid myself, but but they ask me, I want to do this thing. And I say to them, you know what? You must just specialize. How about you just quit university? Go directly to the certificates of a professional. For example, if you want to be a system administrator, you can go and study Red Hat or AWS or Microsoft Cloud and things like that. Because then you have specific experience. If you go for an interview and they're asking you questions related to that particular application, you'll be able to respond to all the questions. And if they ask you to do something, you'll be able to do it because it's practical. Going to university, you're wasting 200K on average, and you're going to qualify, and then the next thing, you are stuck, you don't have a job. The most likely you'll find a job is an internship, and that's slavery again. They will enslave you for like 2 years, earning peanuts
put you up.
that they call stipends, but it's really peanuts. And afterwards, they may not even hire you on a permanent contract.
Which
So
is sad.
yeah, so for me, I feel like if you wanna be employable, hey man, it's about luck as well. So if you are already qualified, you've got a degree, and you want a job, let's hope you find luck to find that job, and you'll take it from there. Yeah, it's good luck, really.
For real,
It's good luck.
So, in fact, my nephew is here. Shout out to my nephew.
Shut up.
So,
Yeah.
his dad, we were talking probably like a few months ago. We had gone out for a few beers, and we were talking about how, and he was telling me about how he got lucky just with getting the first gig, right? And how he had to work his way out. But just because he was like, even how it happened, it was just God's work, really, because he had missed the calls, and then he tried to call, and then because he had to go to a public phone situation, by the time he got back, like he kept on missing this person's call. But because luck was on his side, by the time they got a hold of him, it was we've been trying to get a hold of you. All right, cool, come through Snini for an interview, and then week after that, hired, right? So a lot of luck plays a huge role, but also being really specializing in a skill is ideal.
It's dope,
It's
man.
really, really ideal.
Because if you think of it, I'll speak IT again. From grade 9, I mean, even doing metric is useless nowadays, honestly.
Yeah, but go to school.
Go to school, please.
No, listen. Listen to what I have to say, right? If you wanna see yourself as an engineer, mechanical engineer, whatnot, from grade 10 you can go to college, right? And do your what do they call them?
And something.
Yeah, those N courses. Those N courses, and that's industry experience as you're learning.
Yes.
Instead of doing physical science, life science, and all those things that will not help you with anything with your life, you might as well just start thinking about how you're going to structure your life from that age, from early on.
I have something to say regarding what you just said.
Yeah.
So, Sandile's nephew is in a different type of school, right? Where they are studying based on careers. But he has this thing where he wants to go to a normal school and learn about life science, about history and whatnot. But it's not aligned with the type of career choice that he wants, right? So now that you are mentioning that and he's here, I hope you are listening, that it's good to be in that type of school where you're just learning based on whatever career you have chosen in grade 10, instead of having to learn a bunch of other subjects that wouldn't really help you.
Definitely, because I mean, I've been there. I learned subjects that were just useless.
Exactly.
I learned life science. I learned physical science. It was useless to me because there's no way I'm applying that logic. I basically wasted years of learning for nothing. So for me, especially if you're looking at this kind of economy, you know that you need a job.
Yeah.
Or you need to have a business. So once you've decided that you want a specific career, you might as well just follow that stream.
Yeah.
It's okay to specialize. It's actually perfect to specialize. You are in the 3 percentile that will be successful in the future.
Because it's like if you want to get your ear operated, you're not gonna go to a general practitioner. You're gonna go to an ENT who specializes in this thing. A GP is going to give you grandpa for your pain.
And you shy a grant. Shout out to Saul. Shout out to Saul.
Because me, I've been an entrepreneur all my life, right? So I don't know corporate culture. Let me see your face here.
Oh my god.
What? Yeah, both of you guys actually, because you've been in that world. So what is how does it work for you? Like, do you notice the difference? Of course, you probably do, but do you notice the differences between how you get the job and why it is that you get the job, or how you get the job compared to your black male counterparts? And how, because I've always heard people in corporate complaining about people in corporate, especially black people, like black people complaining about black people. So how do you guys then think that world can be altered or changed, or get people to kind of be taken seriously as a nation? Because we've had that conversation where it's just like, yo, you can't take black people, no way, because like we ruin a good thing, right? Like you're saying in where you used to work previously, there'd be free drinks after work. But now everyone wants to come with their friends. Now call your friends to come to the office. Let's go drink. Yeah. My man.
Why?
I got you covered, bro.
Right? And it's
you don't need to spend a dime. I got you covered.
And now you want to get drunk off of free alcohol. Why is it that we can't just be in a good place, or in a environment where we ourselves don't look at each other and be like, see a Mosha wherever we go?
Okay.
I think you just opened up a whole new topic, right? I don't know. I think it goes back to how we as black people are so new to quote unquote soft life, right? So you'd find that a person who grew up around money is not fazed by money, for example. So now me as a black person, as soon as I get money, then I start doing dumb shit like ball at a club or anything of that sort, right? So just making an example with that. Now back to corporate. If I'm just so lucky, or I happen to be so lucky to get inside this company where they offer free booze, and I'm just like, whoa, okay. I hit jackpot over here. My niggas better pull out, right? I really think it goes back to just not being used to certain things, and when you are being given that privilege, then you don't necessarily know how to handle. Yeah.
But now, doesn't this come now where self-control becomes 100%. A thing? Because it's about dialogue, man.
Exactly.
You can't want to.
It's not easy.
But that's the fight. But we have to fight.
But
I can't hit up niggas. Pull up.
That's very
free alcohol.
I think also
Me as your nigga, I'm going to feel weird to be there every week. My man.
Exactly, but
My man.
nigga don't feel weird.
it's a generational thing.
It's a generational
As she
thing.
said,
It's also
it's new experiences. So some people don't know how to behave around those new experiences, and it goes beyond just alcohol. So there are people who get petrol allowance. And some people will just feel for their wives, their friends, and
So again,
start
my
selling that
nephews-
thing.
My brother-in-law
Yeah.
was told me about a colleague of his.
Yeah.
This dude will be driving back and forth to Durban, Dania every weekend. Like, this dude is spending like 5-6K on petrol a month. Why, my man?
You
Right?
see?
And then my brother-in-law was like, the way like he structures his thing, even the what's allowed for him to use, he doesn't even.
yeah.
That's because, and I mean, he's a proper family man structure, doesn't necessarily have an outside world. But why can't people do that? Why can't,
It's not
You give it-
easy.
but my man,
It's new.
control.
It's
New experience.
And
Alright.
not saying it's
2 months. Thing is, 2 months.
Yeah.
Do that.
Aye.
Now-
The thing is,
Yeah. Now we
Why
must have a
why?
family meeting in the company because now everyone is being shitted on because your dumbass can't control yourself.
the thing is, if I steal a packet of sugar and nobody sees it, I'll steal it again. Nobody will
Yeah.
see it. So that becomes part of my life because you know what? There's nothing wrong.
That's why
So-
self-control. Know when to quit it.
You,
Know when
you
to
will
cut
not
it a
know
day.
until they catch
It's
you.
like getting fast money. If you're gonna get fast money, my nigga, make enough, pull out.
The thing
Get
is,
out.
you think that fast money will be sustainable for the rest of your life. You
No.
keep on getting the fast money.
But now it's fast money, it comes, but also not. Never
Yeah,
mind.
no,
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
exactly.
They're
Yeah.
not the brightest.
Yeah,
stars in
and
the
another
sky.
thing is, so because it's a new experience, it will take generations to change.
It will.
We are
But
not all
ra
the same.
saying abafethu.
We are not all the same. Le makgowa a teng a o senya.
Yeah.
Arehane,
A
but
teng a o
because
senya.
they are a
And they are
minority.
given a leeway to
True.
senya.
True, but it's a minority of them. There's many of us. So with us, it's amplified because it happens frequently.
Yeah.
Because
Also
even
with
with even with how we ball, white folk do be balling.
Yeah, they
And
do.
you don't
Hard.
see that.
Hard. But now with us, we don't have the capacity to be doing that. You can't be at a Shisanyama every weekend, my man. You can't be driving a car that you can barely afford, my man. You can't want to not now live in a look, man. Let it connect. let it because also as much as them white folk ball,
Yeah.
they know how to think long term. That's the
Yeah.
one thing they know how to do, and they've done it right. I don't like them for.
No, you know,
Shout
my
out.
thing is,
but I just don't like how
My thing is-
things have
is-
been done because of them.
is the environment is conducive for them to. It almost seems like they've got it all figured out, but that's not the case. I mean, they had the economy in their hands for
100%.
years, for
Yeah.
decades.
Yeah.
So even when you fail as a black person, your failure looks like success to us. I mean, as a white person,
Yeah,
your failure looks like success to us. That's like
I get
the
you.
level they at.
But that's
So-
why we, as black folk, need to be very conscious of where we are as a people. We are only getting these things now. Unati and them, they can then have a soft landing should they fail. We fail, we fuck out. Like
That's true.
we are breaking
That's
bones.
true.
We are dying.
That's true.
So we can't live on the basis that when the white guys fail, it looks like success. So we're not on the same level. They are eons ahead of us. We need to be very conscious of how we are as a people, our expenditures, what it is that we spend on, what it is that we're trying to do, and fix our money situation amongst ourselves. Because now we can't
actually
do unnecessary things because you only live once. Okay, and your kids.
I think this goes back to the point that we were talking about education, our education system.
True.
Because the way it's so messed up, we should have learned some of these core skills. Financial literature, we don't have that in school.
100%.
I don't know if now they're trying to put it, but we did not have that.
Yeah.
We don't even have a subject of how to run a business. So that in itself sets us up for failure.
And the thing is,
And there's no role models. Yeah.
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate
Yeah.
for my fellow black people.
Sure.
Corporate is a white man's world,
It is.
right? And I hear what you are saying, Sandile, by you have to be disciplined. But for us in corporate, being disciplined means altering yourself
Yeah.
to fit into the white man's world. And that's not very easy for everyone. You'd find that by the time we get the freedom of Friday, you just want to be yourself because you've been altering yourself the whole week to
but
fit
what
into a white man's
wait,
world.
what is yourself?
So other people,
Please
Sorry, guys.
let it end.
Yeah.
so other people are able to alter themselves to fit into that culture of like where white people are. We do it, or I do it. We all do it to try and fit into that and stay employed. And I'm not saying being yourself is being rebellious, but there's just some things that black folk do that white folk wouldn't necessarily take.
Okay,
part.
like what? Like what? Let's because when it's like, because when you say altering yourself, it's almost as if like you are staying in the straight and narrow because of work, and then when you are being yourself, you are just wretched, just
I don't think that's what you meant.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
so that's what I'm trying to understand. That with like what how far does the altering go? Like what is the altering that gets done? And hence I'm asking like then what is yourself completely, and what are the alterings or alterations that are done?
Okay, so myself as a black person, we have fun by coming together, having fun, blah blah blah. That's us as black people. But now in corporate, that does not necessarily look good. Like how the people that I was talking about at that other company where I was working, like they see it as, whoa, okay, we're having fun, we're drinking together and so forth. But if you don't want to be associated with that, as a black person, you have to sort of move away from that, which is firstly discipline, and you are sort of altering yourself because obviously as a black person you can't say you don't like ubumnandi, for example. You do. Maybe I wouldn't as a person, but as a black people, that's what we like. And when you are in a working environment, you have to sort of alter certain things.
What's going on?
I continue, guys.
What's going on?
I need to please call this person and go open for me.
I was calling.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We'll continue. We'll
Yeah,
edit
you
it
sort
out.
of have to alter certain things. Like, guys, black behavior is really not the same as white behavior. Like, I feel like you
But the
have
thing
to
is-
be in corporate to understand exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I might not be able to put it into words. It even goes back to when you are interviewing. You have to sort of be a certain way so that they have to take you on. Those are things that we don't necessarily talk about, right? And you'd find that you are even able to do a specific job, but the thing is you are not good at being interviewed.
You cannot
Maybe-
express
exactly,
yourself.
You cannot express
Yeah.
yourself, but you are good in what you guys were saying, coding, for example. I'm not a talker. I just want to sit down and code. But then you wouldn't be hired because there's Usandile with his fresh accent who came before you. Who came
Feeling
before
attacked.
you.
It's such an attack.
I'm
It's
making an
personal.
example. Who came before you.
Yeah.
He does not necessarily know how to do a job, but he speaks good English. He looks good. And pretty privilege is a thing actually in corporate. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
no, it is.
It really is a thing. Like even if you look at the girls that are being hired in corporate, I mean, we look good.
Okay.
It really is a thing, and
Yeah.
it's not something that can be changed overnight.
Yeah.
It's just something that
I don't think it's something
we
that will
know
change.
Exactly.
It won't.
There's so many things that go to a person being hired. It's not just you being qualified and being able to do your job. It's not that. You have to be a certain way in interviews. And even being an extrovert or an introvert, it plays a lot of part. I'm such an introvert, but when I'm in corporate, I have to act like
You
I'm an
have to
extrovert
be.
because my ass will be fired if they realize that I'm just an introvert who likes to keep to myself. And there's a lot of people who cannot alter themselves in that way to say, okay, now I'm in this environment, let me be bubbly. For example, I'm just an introvert, I just want to do my job. There's people like that, and you find that they won't last, which again goes back to what I was saying. You have to alter certain things to fit into corporate, unfortunately.
But it's not necessarily corporate alone though, where one has to alter themselves for certain environments because
It's life in general.
Yeah.
exactly, and I get what you're saying with how one has to conduct themselves, in corporate. But isn't that an orderly manner to conduct oneself in a professional setting?
Look, I mean, the example we gave, it's not that they're messing up
Exactly.
on their job. It's moments where we are meant to just chill and somebody does it overboard because they just don't have the etiquette of how to handle themselves.
Go out there and party there.
I get what you're saying.
Because that's just my thing. Like, if we're gonna have drinks, if we came through and we had to, at your office and we're coming through for that week, I don't want to be at your office for a good 3-4 months again before I pull up. I'm not gonna be there every goddamn week because now it's free booze, because it's gonna get rowdy. You're gonna call more of your friends, I'm gonna tag along with more people's. It's going to get weird.
Exactly. 100% agree with you.
Let
totally.
it not get weird.
Yeah.
Let's
But
enjoy the things.
They say this is a free environment. They tell you these things, right? They say, no, we are a family here, and all of all that corporate talk. They tell you you can be free and everything. And then free to me, as a disciplined person, means something totally different to someone who's not necessarily disciplined. They could be bringing their friends in to have a drink on a Friday because that is what freedom is to them, right? And not everyone has that sort of discipline to be disciplined around freedom, for example. And you know, in corporate, they'll tell you all these nice things. And the problem
Until shit
is
get
us.
real.
Exactly. The problem is us black people, we don't necessarily know how to comprehend that. We see freedom and then we just take it
Far.
very, very far. Because why? We lack that discipline. And there's only a few people who can be disciplined in such environments.
Yeah, like myself and
Stand over here.
But isn't that then the problem with us as a people? At what point do we then take accountability for our recklessness and irresponsibilities and ill-disciplined manners? Like, how do we? When do we become conscious of how we are as beings around certain things? Because here, okay, no, not here, but they're in Pine Slopes, right? Fourways, right? I've seen white folk go buck.
Yeah.
When them folk have a good time, they have a good time, and they do it in Bab. Hell, we were there by that center there in Broad Acres, by that place we like.
Cedar Square.
Yeah.
No, not Cedar Square. It's there by the
other one,
corner.
like
Yeah,
KFC?
yeah, right. So we were, and them white folk on a random Monday or Tuesday. It was a weird ass day of the week. They were there getting drunk, getting wasted, proper, but having a good time out there. My whole thing is, why can't we then do the very same thing if we're trying to be rowdy? Go be rowdy out there. Why would you want to now be rowdy here in the office where everyone gets to see what your life is like now, what you are like after hours? Why? Why they gotta see you like that?
Common sense is not common, and I feel like it's going to take quite a while before black people aren't like that in work environments.
But it's
gonna take
problematic.
quite a while. It is problematic.
Because now, at
It's
what
gonna-
point, when does it end? Like, when does it really end? Because there are kids that we need to always think about. Like, how do we, at what point do we then start setting examples as to how we
Don't look at me, man. I'm an example.
as to how we maneuver around these things of this world? Because now all we want to do is, like you said, yes, we came up lacking and everything else. But for God's sake, like, have the good time. Don't want to over have the good time. You can't always have the very same feeling you had 10 years ago. Now you're chasing that feeling. My man, you're staying a child forever. You can't. You can't. You're growing up. There's stresses that come with life. Understand that. Deal with that first.
Yeah.
Just accept that life is suffering. Buddha said it. That's fact number one. Everything else, work on that. We can't want to feel the very same feeling we felt at 16, bro. The first time you kissed a girl, you want that very same feeling now when you're 35. What do you mean, my man? What are you talking about? That does not make sense. You have not grown an inch. Now you want to be weird. You want to be weird in corporate because you guys being given free alcohol. Now you must be there with 10,000 of your boys. Why? Go away. Go. It doesn't have to be like this. Just go. For God's sake, go. Like my boys and I always used to have this thing where we'd go out. This is 10 years ago. We'd go out and we'd be like, you know what? It's getting rowdy. Go home. And we'd go home. Ain't nothing wrong with going home. Go home. Or go out there and be rowdy there. Now you are here, chief. Because now them white folk are going to keep undermining the black folk.
Yes.
Because of how you act when you're not supposed to be acting like that in a professional setting. Yes, they said you could be free. Man, that's just pep talk. That's pep talk. You can do it. Be yourself. Fuck no. Do not be yourself. Have 2 beers and fuck off. Because now you know if you're going to have 3, 4, 5 beers, your ass get rowdy. You get loud. You dance on tables. My man, go home.
I like that you said do not be yourself. And that's what Ben and I meant by you have to alter yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself, but don't really
everyone
be
has to
yourself.
alter themselves. If I had to alter myself, we'd be fucking quiet on this thing. You'd be talking by yourself. That's facts. Now we have to alter ourselves to be able to function in certain environments. We need to know how to alter ourselves.
Yep.
And that takes maturity, that takes growth, that takes introspection. You have to try to understand who you are. That's even before we started this, you gotta know your strengths, yo.
Yeah.
And my strengths are shutting the fuck up. But if I have to talk, I know how to step out of myself in order to be able to function in an environment. Now, getting drunk, my man, nah. And then they want to say, we acting bougie because, or we acting white.
Exactly. Because you are not part of the
Fuck yeah.
clique. And the thing is, when there's many black people, I'm sorry to say this, when there's many black people in one place, there's bound to be problems. Because I feel like once we get together, we really forget who we are as individuals. Like for me, as soon as there was many black people in another company that I was in, I would always have to remind myself to say, remember why you're here. You're from Bedville, you need this job. If you lose this, then you won't have rent. So you have to sort of keep reminding yourself.
This is back to the village. God.
So you have to keep reminding yourself, yes, as black people, when we're together, rowdy, unruly, and
Let's
all
have
of that,
fun.
like, it just goes back to
but no.
you as an individual, remembering why you are there, and then you can sort of remove yourself from the situation and be more disciplined. But then again, you will be looked at as the bougie one.
I'd rather them motherfuckers don't pay nobody's rent. They don't pay no cars. They look. Why must we all be in the same boat of suffering?
Yeah.
Because I must be one with them folk.
Exactly.
And now being one with the folk with rowdiness, but we can't be one with the folk in economic advancement. For sake, then let's not be one.
That's where we are messed up.
For me, it's simple, guys. Don't drink alcohol.
Remember that meme I sent you? People who don't drink.
I think let's cut it here.